Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And it's a Native American Tatanka.
Now, I know you're probably surprised I'm in the red and blue and he's in the black, but you know what? Either way, a brand new Wrestling Insider special edition is next. Stand by. Boston wrestling sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE, NXT, and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome to another installment of Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty Jannetty. It is unbelievable now. We're about a third of the way through December. That means our Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive, the 9th annual Paul Bearer endeavor, is almost coming to a close this weekend. As you know, tomorrow night, the Warlord is going to be with us in that very chair. On Saturday,
better get a bigger chair.
On Saturday night, we'll have the Native American Tatanka with us. And then on Sunday, we have what I call a future star, superstar doubleheader. Wheeler Yuta, who's making quite a name for himself in the world of professional wrestling. He's competed here in Boston Wrestling. He was part of the Ring of Honor Pure title tournament recently. He's going to be with us to share the origins of his story in professional wrestling, as well as my longtime close personal friend, a man I spent New Year's, I don't remember, I think New Year's week 2012 with out in Sin City, the new Impact World Champion, Rich Swann. I'm really looking forward to that. He has a hell of a life story to tell. So we're bringing it to life. We're doing it virtually. We can't have a live wrestling event. Massachusetts won't let us have more than 10 people together indoors. We're lucky we can even put these video shoots together. But we're going to have a lot of fun virtually. Autographs available. If you've missed the signings we've done already with Leo Rush, with Tony, with Marty, with the Nasty Boys, with Savio Vega, the good news is those VIP packages are still available. We held them hostage. They signed the posters and whatever photos were left over before they left, so we can still include them in the package. To me, keeping this man's name alive means so much to me for all he did in my world, for what he's done for everything in Boston Wrestling and the MWF. Not when he was just active with us, but when he was working in mortuary science. He was a help to us. When he was managing Undertaker in WWF, he was a help to us. He wasn't getting paid. He did it because he genuinely cared and wanted to see us improve, and he wanted to give back to professional wrestling. So that's why every Christmas, no matter how much stress it causes me, which is a lot with everything else and our normal work that we do, I will always try and go above and beyond to honor this guy right here and make him proud by how we do things. And we might not always succeed, but the effort is always 100%. So for more information, head on over to bostonwrestling.com. Join us for these live autograph signings. If you're a wrestling fan, if you're part of the wrestling community, share it with your friends on social media. If there's any toy drive you're going to participate in this year, why not participate in a professional wrestling themed one? There aren't many of them as far as I know. You know, the Salvation Army, they ring the bell in front of Macy's and all the stores. There's 1 million people that'll donate to that. The wrestling community is a unique community, so let's stick together and make some goodwill happen. Let's update Santa Claus's GPS to find every kid on Santa's list this year, and again, keep this guy's memory alive. All right, Marty, I yacked long enough.
I was just saying, I'm all good about that, because it's for our boy there, but man, that's why we run out of time.
My pitch is too long?
20 minutes intro on that.
Well,
we keep going over time, and we're like, man, we almost had it, but
good
5 minutes over.
conversation and a good cause. How about that? And it's almost over, thank God.
And speaking of, honoring somebody, I said a couple of shows ago that I would, and so I'm going to do that now by wearing one of his.
Oh, yes, you did mention that.
Yes, he owned him and Hawk owned Zubaz.
What a smart business investment that was.
Yeah,
huh?
man, the NFL, the players were wearing the stuff on the sidelines at one point. And
when I was in middle school, that was everybody wanted the Zubaz, all the different colors.
And there was so many spin-offs. Then there was sportswear and everywhere, and all the kind of. But they came out with it first, man, and did real good marketing with it. Got it everywhere. I
didn't know until much later on that they had any involvement with it.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I probably would have been, even if I knew, as a kid, that Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom owned part of that, I probably would have been more apt to want, I would have
more.
broke my parents' balls for more of them, you know what I mean? But anyway, wrestling fans, you talk about tributes. We did tributes to Kamala and Road Warrior Animal on this show with Marty Jannetty.
Miss you, Joe. Rest in peace, my brother. I know you're here with us.
In this episode today, I want to talk about a couple of other great legends.
Hey, this might not be vodka.
No, I don't think so.
It's Christmas, though.
It is Christmas theme. I wouldn't mind a little if someone wanted to slip it my cup at this point. But, Bullet Bob Armstrong.
Where's your coffee at?
Bullet Bob Armstrong, a man that meant something to you. I know early on in your career, recently passed away.
All through my
Father
career.
a road dog and.
Well, he, when I was a little kid, a little 10-year-old MJ watching wrestling, Bob Armstrong was the most flamboyant, charismatic person that back in that time. Everybody was headlock, arm drag, and a punch. That was pretty much maybe a slam if you wanted a big move. But old Bob, man, he was charismatic as hell. He'd get out there and just, arms and legs are flailing. And, you always try to imitate a little bit or emulate the person that inspired you, and you see some of my comebacks out them legs, nothing like his, man. He would be high, kicking them up like chest high and going all crazy and stuff. And it was just, as a kid, you got so excited watching it, And he had them big old arms, and, he was so good on the microphone. He would come up with some good ones. And, that was who I kind of like, if I ever were to be a wrestler. As a kid, I was like, I'm gonna be him one day.
Now, which promotion did you get on TV as a kid?
As what?
What promotion did you get on TV? Because it was the territory.
Georgia Championship Wrestling, which was, based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And they would come to Columbus, Georgia on Wednesday nights. Fred Ward was the promoter. And but on Saturdays, they would go to Front Avenue and do the TV taping. And we'd go down there.
You would go to the shows live?
Yeah, the TV tapings my sisters would take me because they knew I was big into sports and all that, and they loved wrestling.
How old were you when you started to go? Do you remember?
About around eight or nine, somewhere like that. And, it was so scary as a kid, these big old guys, when they get out in the ring and you can actually run up next to them, and they're all sweaty and big and, different kind of big back then. They were kind of husky big. Now everybody's like bodybuilding. But as a kid,
they look like nowadays. Majority looks like professional athletes. Back then, you had some big, rugged, tough, dangerous-looking men.
They were, and they were dangerous from the stories I heard. But it was so fun, and Bob was my favorite. And then I met him a couple of times. I say I met him, as a kid, like getting an autograph, and he was just so nice and polite. And he was a fireman up in Marietta, and so everybody gave him respect for that in Georgia. And my family, liked him because of that. And so it was easy for me to like him a lot. And like I said, try to emulate it a little bit with some of my style, just to, how he got hyped up and stuff. And then when I first broke in, the business. My first few matches were down in Dothan, Alabama, and I forgot whose territory it was running it then, but the Armstrongs, like Brad had already moved on up to NWA. He was on NWA TV. But Scott Armstrong, I think Scott was there, and I don't think Road Dogg was there yet. Steve, I don't think Steve was either. He was just Scott, but Brad made a couple visits, and so I got to know them. That was Bob's my hero of wrestling, his sons, and hung out with them, and they partied, and I was young, and so I saw that, hey, they party in this industry. It's going to be fun. And which my trainer, Jerry Oates, got a little upset about that when he found out. I was like, oh, yeah, man, we sat there and did a couple lines. And then, we got ready for the match. And he got mad because he was straight-laced, Jerry was.
Isn't it funny? Tony just mentioned them on an episode.
The Oates brothers?
Yeah, they invested their money very wisely in something. I can't think of what it is.
A car auto thing.
Car wash? Was that what it was?
Well, car and repair. And
Tony mentioned that a couple episodes ago.
Yeah,
Isn't that funny you mentioned them?
Yeah, and then he ended up opening his gym, Oates Gym. It became very popular. It was probably the only gym around back then.
Yeah,
And,
they weren't several on every main street like they are nowadays, yeah.
And but he was straight-laced, and he didn't like me being one of his trainees.
On the medicine.
Yeah, he got mad and called and told somebody, what the hell you doing? You got
really?
the guys
He
in the
took it that
dressing room.
seriously? Wow.
Yeah, because he was trying to train me right, and he didn't want, here I am down there doing cocaine in the dressing room. I only had 3 matches at the time.
How old would you have been at this point?
How old was I then?
Yeah.
Probably 23.
Oh, young, okay.
Yeah. In fact, I know I was 23. And, I understand his point of view and perspective of it. He's trying to make somebody, and he saw the potential. He knew I was going to be, a representative of him.
Throughout your entire career, you'll always have a stamp of Jerry Oates on you in some way, shape, or form. I understand that.
And my boy Eddie Mansfield, he helped on and off a lot. And
was that before or after 2020?
It was a little bit before, because after it was hard to hang out with him. But he had good intentions on that, and it had to do with unionization.
Yeah, sure did.
That's what he went out there for. And the reason I said it like that is the last episode we talked about unionization a lot. But like I said, Jerry wanted me to be a good. He knew from word around town, that I was a little troublemaker, and I mean mischievous.
Were you a troublemaker, or were you just someone that wanted to enjoy yourself?
Enjoy yourself, but sometimes.
But I mean,
my college
from what
coach,
I know you, were you ever out to cause trouble
for
never. People? No, I don't. Not that I've ever heard.
No.
And I've heard a lot.
My coach, Coach Stubbe, my college wrestling coach, great guy, and we reconnected here in the last year or so. We talk a lot, and he still to this day helps me through some hard times.
I think you were talking to him on the phone the day we had the power outage.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and he could tell some stories. But when I was 19 years old. 18 and 19, he took a chance. Well, I say take a chance. He said it wasn't taking a chance. He said, I knew you had the talent. You just needed somebody to, guide you in the right direction, a little bit, and he was perfect for it. But he's got stories he says he still tells today, like the time we had to wrestle Alabama, University of Alabama, and everybody shows up at the bus but me. And then one of the guys said, I think he's in jail.
Were you?
Yeah.
What happened?
He used to, coach would give us these vitamin packs, and we're doing like 8 different vitamins, because we're training your ass off, and in the snow, when it would snow sometimes, he'd have us out there running anyway. I mean, he was keeping us with our vitamins and minerals and stuff. There were little cellophane packs, like I said, about eight vitamins, different colors. They have red and yellow, white, black, and mostly white, different shapes. But the state fair was in Columbus, Georgia that weekend, and I decided to go make a little money because when you're at college, you can't make much money, and didn't have any to start with. So I took the vitamins and went down and selling them as different kinds of drugs at the fair. It ended up in jail, and Coach when he heard about it, I can only imagine what it probably was hard to get mad. It's like he was selling vitamins and well, you can't arrest him for selling drugs as vitamins, But
what was the arrestable offense if you were selling vitamins?
I don't know. I don't know if it was. I don't know. I just know I was in jail and we got to meet with Alabama, and I'm in here, and Coach pulls up in the team bus in front of the thing, and comes out and gets me or something. So I forget how it all happened, but they were like, "Oh, Coach, it's college. Okay. But it was vitamins." And so Coach has got a lot of stories like that. He could tell.
We'll have to have him in for an interview at some point.
I would love that. But I forgot where we was going with this. Where the hell did we start this time?
We started with Bob Armstrong.
Oh, okay. So Jerry Olsen knew I wasn't the most straight-laced guy, but he wouldn't have had nothing to do with me, and Coach wouldn't either. If I was
you meant no malice to anyone.
Right. I would say, if I was an angry young man destroying people's lives and everything.
No, you were just someone that once you had the opportunity to, you wanted to have a good time.
Yeah. I got bored. I got ADHD. I can't even be still. And that jump subject so much. I've always had it as a kid, and now I'm drinking coffee, and you probably spiked it. Where's my phone?
Oh, don't start with that again.
You took it again.
Did you put it back in that bag?
No, if it's in there, you did it. It was just out here.
You got to remember, first of all, I can't see because I don't have my glasses on.
He's always messing with me every week. He hides my phone. Here it is.
Sometime, fans, we should do a behind-the-scenes version of what we go through in between the commercial breaks, because sometimes I think we have more laughs during the commercial breaks than even we do on the show.
Yeah, I'm sure of it. Some things can't discuss on the show.
You got that right. But Bullet Bob Armstrong, was he someone, did he inspire you to get involved in wrestling?
Well, to tell the truth, I wrestled in high school and college.
You had an amateur background.
Yeah. And we did pretty good. Coach took us from the program before he got there, and I went there his first year. He recruited me out. That's what I was saying. He took a chance. He claims it wasn't a chance. He knew the talent was there, just rough around the edges, and needed a little guidance, and he was perfect for that. But he took a program that was 0-10. They'd only just started the program there, but they didn't win a single match. And his first year there, we had 6 guys qualify for nationals, which means you got to place first or second in your district. Mm-hmm. And we had the Southeast of the United States. And then we went on to, we got actually ranked as high as number 8 in the nation at one point.
Oh, wow.
And that's from a team that was 0-10 the year before that he got there. So, he was and I got he got a letter, he's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame for wrestling, collegiate wrestling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'd put that up on Facebook. At this point, I'd put that up on Facebook. For show-wise, in reality, I got to put that up on Facebook.
You have to.
No, I want to. Don't have to. I want to, because I'm so proud to say that I was trained by him.
Yeah.
But Bob. So what I'm saying is, after my second year, junior college, JUCO, you only 2 years. All the wrestling programs in the Southeast, I figured I'd go over to Auburn and go to Georgia or LSU, any of the ones that already knew who I was, because I was beating some of their guys, So.
Yeah, this is probably throwing a shot in the dark, but he was very good from what I remember down in Georgia. As an amateur, Patera Rastani, in the early 70s. I don't know what year you graduated high school.
I don't either, but I'm sure I did. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really? You wrestled Patera Rastani?
No.
No.
I was just saying I graduated.
You remember you graduated, but that's about it.
I know that name, but I can't picture him.
Oh, you know the name?
I know of it.
Yeah, but you didn't work them. Well,
no.
Wrestle them, I guess, is the right word. We can never get the word work out of our minds once you're in wrestling. Even in an amateur wrestling meet. Did you work him? Sometimes you talk about baseball. Did the Red Sox work the Astros in the playoffs?
Oh, yeah, by the way, Speaking of
That's
that,
a different Marty.
yeah, that's a Party Marty shirt though. But I did this down in New York, Long Island.
That was, I think,
That's why they met. So don't get mad at me, Boston people.
That was the one I think we had to get you to last minute last time you were here when the man
Yeah.
messaged me in the middle at about 2 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out
Who,
how
me?
to get you to New York. The other Marty, yeah, that was another Marty Jannetty adventure, but he's a lot of fun, folks, and he's a good human being.
That's right. I forgot he called you in the middle of the night. You said.
Facebook.
Oh, or was it Facebook?
Everybody says I talk to, but that means I text them,
Yeah.
I Facebook them, but they still use the word talk, even though nobody really talks anymore.
But it's good though, because you can do other things. When you're talking, you can't do other things.
Dude, that's why Tony kills me, because when you get you on the phone, no matter what your intention is to get him off in a minute or two, you look at the clock and it's been an hour.
Some of my girls.
Then the phone actually starts to gets hot
And
up
heavy.
against, and sweaty
Yeah.
up against your ear. Then it's been an hour and a half, and he's still talking about complete and utter nonsense that has nothing to do with anything. But you don't want to be rude and hang up on him.
He sees these shows, right?
No.
Okay.
He goes to the library once in a blue moon and watches one of his, but Tony, I
You
love
better
you,
hope he
buddy,
don't
if you
slip
ever
up
do
in here.
see this one. But he knows his phone calls drive me crazy.
But my girls are like that, man. I'll look like, gosh. Sometimes if I hear the phone ring, what'd you do with it now?
I can actually see it at this point.
I'll look, and if I see it, somebody I know, I'm like, damn, I got to answer it now because I look. So a lot of times, like, I don't feel like talking long, so I'm not going to look. Then I don't feel guilty, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, wait a minute, what if it's important? Oh shit, don't let it be a telemarketer. Ah, damn, it's damn Demeter. I got to call. I didn't mean that, Demeter. I'm just using your name because I just saw it. You must have just called. But and I'm like, okay, we'll make this short. It won't be long. I'll go ahead
And
and
it
answer.
never happened.
Fuck, an hour later, like you said, the phone is hot up against your face. You got to put the speaker on, then everybody can hear. and it gets so heavy.
Well, at least for you, you're getting women calling you. I get Tony. You're doing better than me. Oh, God, these shows, sometimes we have laughs in ways we don't even plan on it.
Yeah.
But, now, back to you had a successful amateur wrestling background
so it
in
was
high
time
school
to
and
move
college.
on out of JUCO or junior college. And, I asked around to other colleges, hey, I'm available. But they were all like, we'd love to have you. But they were dropping their programs. Because wrestling.
Why? Wrestling was drying up?
Yeah, well, no, but there was some ruling came in where they had to add a girl sport or drop a guy sport.
Oh.
And wrestling made the least amount of money, so they dropped that. And so, I had to get a job. Again.
So that's what actually led
I had
you?
a job when I was 14. That's when I started.
Well, we remember that.
At the bowling alley. And
We don't want to go there again.
No,
it's
just
Christmas time.
But I mean, I had worked all through up till I worked, from 14 to about. I stopped in high school once I started getting into sports. What are you laughing about?
You don't even want me to say it.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I might not. If
Your
you
first-
say for you to say that, I
Your
might
first
not.
wrestling match,
The first
the
wrestling.
Chattahoochee street fight.
I told you the truth on that, right? That I never dragged the body.
Marty, you've told me so many different things.
That's good.
And I don't even want. People have asked me to do
Me and my
interviews
nephew
about it.
poured gas on and just burned him up. We didn't bother taking him to the room.
I will never want to talk about that publicly unless I have you with me.
You don't want to make me do it. What are you talking about? You
I
thought it'd be
dispute
good.
that.
You thought it'd
Well,
be good.
no,
Hey,
no.
hey, you committed murder with self-defense, and I say accidental death and
I
murder
will
are not
say
the same
this.
thing.
I will say this. Yes, I did want you to tell that story, but there was a reason behind it.
Yeah, because TMZ and everybody else was talking shit.
How they labeled you is disgusting.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I don't want to rehash the whole story. I just wanted to present what happened from the point of view as a 13-year-old kid that was being
14.
attacked, 14-year-old kid that was being attacked by a sexual predator male adult. That's how it should have been labeled, not pro wrestler kills gay man or other shit that I was reading.
Oh, man,
that angered me. And you can say, you know what, did I say let's do an interview? Yes, I did. But I wanted it told from that point of view.
I'm gonna show you.
And I hope you at least understand that.
I totally do.
Okay, all right.
A lot of people out there don't. They're like, why would you go on camera or was actually it was a
We're
phone?
on the phone for that
Yeah.
one.
and admit to somebody dying.
Well, if you're going to admit to someone dying, do it right. I guess it's the moral of the story.
But I still stand by. There's a difference in accidental death and murder.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm trying to find the one that's absolutely the most craziest one, and I think my friend from one of my friends from Germany sent it to me. It was like their Ledger or their National Enquirer type magazine.
Well, we made the Enquirer. The studio.
Yeah, we made that, and
the studio was thrilled to see our show name in the Enquirer.
Bro.
Oh, the studio got some calls. They were wondering what on earth happened.
Were you read? You can't read, can you?
You'd have to hand it to me, but
Well, I know that. Read the title right there.
Mauler, Marty, and Murder Probe. Now that was from Germany.
Yeah. Look, which camera's on? I'll get as close as I can.
Go to the one in the middle.
Oh, shit.
Oh no!
And that's not even drinking. I'll get it in a second.
That's all right. At least it didn't break, or we'd really.
Mauler Marty, murder case, murder probe. Damn, what all broke?
Did it break or no?
No, this one didn't. The
I'm
bottles,
talking about the soda pop.
It didn't break, no, but it's leaking.
Let me get up to. It's leaking.
Yeah.
So it must have broke.
No, it's just coming out the top. Set it up and I'll wipe that up in a second.
Sorry, Johnny.
Yeah, man, I'll buy you another one.
You never
That's
know what
why he
to
hides the
expect.
phone from me.
That's why I had the phone from him, right?
Yeah, but there was some bad labels, and there was murder and
No,
this.
and there's like I said, the reality of what you explained happened was so different than what those people put out there. And knowing you, just even at that point, just a little bit, it made me sick.
Well,
it was wrong, even if I didn't know you.
Right.
And I knew the true story, and just those headlines were despicable.
Well, everybody's trying to get viewers, and I mean, that's like clickbait sort of, but that wasn't clickbait, but Mauler, murderer Mauler, whatever the hell that thing just said.
I just remember there was a gay website, nothing against homosexuality, but there was a gay website that I think the headline was, WWE wrestler kills gay man. I couldn't believe my eyes when
Yeah, they
I
tried
read
to blame it on that was the reason.
Like that had
it was
anything
gay.
to do with it. You were a kid being attacked. What were you supposed to do?
And
Just let it happen? I mean, come on.
see if you can fix that.
I need Howard Miller for that, but that's all right.
You need what?
I need Howard Miller for it. Howard that was here earlier. He was Howard Stern's stunt double in the movie Private Parts. But
oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, I guess Howard
we'll
wouldn't
get
have done
back to that one. All right. Back to Bob Armstrong. Socko in there's having a blast.
Yeah, I heard that. They're laughing up there in the cheap seat. Stop it. What'd you say? What'd you say though? I missed it.
So you were kind of a college wrestling free agent. College wrestling was kind of being done away with because they had to have equal opportunity for women's sports, or however it was classified. So do you know where?
That's pretty much what it was.
Do you know where it went?
What's that?
Johnny Soda.
Yes, right here. I just want to
But
wipe
it's
up
not
that.
smashed.
No, not at all.
Oh,
It's just-
well, all right.
No, but a little bit seeped out.
All right, that's all right. That's what used to happen with
People
me.
can get pregnant from a little bit
That's what used to happen
seeping out.
with me and Linda, yeah. But you want to, well, I won't even go. That's why Linda's the ex, I guess.
Oh,
But,
yeah, you don't want to say nothing. Your kids
a
watch it.
little seeping. But anyway, so you were a free agent in college wrestling. College wrestling was drying up. You needed to get a job.
Down south it was. It wasn't up north and everywhere else.
Is that what kind of led you to the world of pro wrestling?
In a sense, because I had to go get a job. And, I hadn't worked a regular job since, I think I stopped at the bowling alley around 16. And because the more I got into sports, the less I wanted to be, wearing myself out at work, get off school and then go to work. But I did work for a moving company. It was named Washburn with my brother. My brother got me on there, so I worked like a summer, I think my sophomore, junior year of high school. And that was it up until 20 years old. I hadn't worked a regular job, and then after wrestling ended for me, it was like, shit, I gotta get a job. And luckily for me, my high school wrestling friend, his name was Perry Pate. His dad owned a North American Van Lines branch in Columbus, Georgia, which is another moving company. He'd already had experience with that, so I went to work for him. And I had learned how to drive a tractor trailer truck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so when they would have like long hauls, well, I say long hauls for that company, 7 hours, like up to Richmond, Virginia or something, like a 7 hour, they would have me take the long hauls. And you know, when you load a trailer up with like 30 and you weigh it, so how you know how to charge, you know, the weigh stations and stuff, 30,000, 40,000 pounds of furniture is a lot. It's like a house with 3 or 4 bedrooms and all kinds of German trunks and all that heavy shit you got to move up and down stairs. And you know, I got to the point where, man, this is, what am I going to do the rest of my life? This is it? I mean, I'm going to move furniture. I mean, and what I was going to say out of that was, you know, when you put 30,000, 40,000 pounds of furniture in a tractor trailer, and then you drive 7 hours and you get there and you take a nap in the back of the, you know, if you want to save money, in the back of the little sleeper, and you get up and unload that same ass shit. And then, unless you can pick up another load, which they usually like to do because they don't want to deadhead back, because you're not making any money on that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And so, I mean, most of the time I was deadheading back with that trailer's bouncing because it's light, you know, and you know, I thought this, you know, this was kind of, I mean, I enjoyed it. I loved the driving. I liked the, you know, driving a tractor trailer truck. I loved that. But it was just the hard part. I say the hard part, the aggravating part. And I was never malicious, like you said, but I hated it when I'd get to the place, and it was especially with the military contracts. They were a little bossy asses, but it was a contract. All the, you know, from Fort Benning, you know, you piss off one person, you might lose that whole contract for the entire base. So we had to be quiet and just, you know, yes, no, and you know, I got this, I don't know what he was, a lieutenant or a colonel or something, some high rank.
Not Nick Sanders, the colonel.
No, not him.
All right.
But no, what was the other one that Fuller did? He was a colonel, wasn't he?
Oh, he was Colonel Robert Parker in WCW. Yeah.
But yeah, they boss you around, like you're furniture mover, your truck driver. They, I want that over there. I'm looking at him like, do you think I'm in the military? You talking to me like that? Where you want this shit? I'll make sure it goes further away than that. But yeah, they did a couple times, and the one, there were 2 incidents. I'll try to make them fast.
Sure.
I had my friend Tom Lively. He wanted to learn to drive a truck, and he worked there anyway, moving the furniture. And what would happen when you got 30,000 pounds of furniture to unload? You buy some dock workers, you know, somebody to unload the trucks and help load, and whatever cost they were. Well, me and Tom together, both, Tom's a hard worker too. I might be you know, what y'all think is a party drunkard, drughead, whatever. But and you can ask any coach that's ever had me, always the hardest worker there is. And it's the same way on the job.
I think most people could say that about your body of work in professional wrestling that's on video.
Yeah, they don't understand. To be seen all over the world, starting where I started, must have done some kind of hard-ass work. But, you know, Tom and I wouldn't even have to go buy anybody at the docks, you know, waiting to, you know, to get whatever. Back then it was like, I think, $10 an hour. And you'd have them for 4 hours. And we just keep that money, and you were allotted that, you know, to spend on help. So we figured we'd keep that and eat good tonight.
Yeah.
And we would, the 2 of us would unload faster than 3 other guys you just hired, or even 2 other guys. So we'd do it ourselves. We had to go up to Nashville, and from where we was at, that was about 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours, and got to this place, big ass, you know he was a colonel or something. This big ass house, big ass yard, and you know, you want to back the truck as far as you can, and backing the tractor trailer truck can be a little bit, you know, tricky. You got to, you know, and I was pretty good at it. I got lucky enough to be good at it. But they had a telephone pole on one side of the little narrow ass driveway and a tree on the other side. And the road was narrow, you know, it was a 2-lane road. I couldn't swing out any kind of way. I tried one, like a little bit, and Tom was just like, it's not even close, not even close. And I was like, and it had rained, so it was, you know, it was a little damp out. And I thought, well, and it was a freaking haul, man. It had to be at least 100 feet, which that's over 30 yards. For y'all that ever ran sprints, 40-yard sprints, you know how far that is to each piece of furniture. You got to take it all that far, and then they had 2 little stairs to you, 2 little steps, and then go in the house, and then go back and get a damn dish barrel or some kind of, it would have taken us 2 days. So the only thing, I kept looking like, wonder if we could cut through the yard right here and just go sideways. Yeah, that's a good old Tom's. That's a good idea. Here's country as hell. Daggum good idea, Jannetty. Why don't we do that? And I was like, I don't know. If it starts to bog down, let me know. So that's why I don't keep backing up. We'll get back as far as we can. So I'm looking in the mirror and I'm backing up slowly. And, Tom's with the... And I get to a point where it's not backing anymore. He goes, give us some gas. And I'm like, give it a little bit of gas. And I could hear zzz. And he goes, no, give us some more gas. You got to give it gas. You're fine. Come on. So I gave it a little more gas. It goes, zzz, and I see dirt shooting up about 20, 30 feet in the air. It covers him. He looks like a mud monster. And I get out, and there's big ass tire wheels, man. The wheel is down to about midway in the yard. You only see half the wheel off the tractor itself. And the Tom's like, get in there and give us some more. Get your ass, shut up. And he's telling me to go in there and do it some more. And just rock it back and forth. Man, it's down that far. So here comes the guy out there, the colonel guy, the little asshole. And he's like, oh my God, what have you done to my lawn? When somebody calls the yard a lawn, you're in trouble. I was like, oh man. I called Perry. I said, Perry, we got an issue here. He goes, what now? I said, well, we were backing the truck through the yard, and I was waiting for him to start yelling. But it was, on good, hard, solid surface, it's not a big deal. But it rained a lot up there, so he was like, still, he wouldn't say anything. He was like, okay, waiting for the punchline. Yeah, the truck got stuck in the yard. He goes, what do you mean it got stuck in the yard? It break down? I said, well, now the tire kind of spun and dug a hole and it's stuck in the hole. He goes, well, can you, he said the same thing, Tom, can you rock it back and forth? I'm like, I probably could, but just make the hole bigger. And so he goes, I'll send a tow truck. See, he didn't know the seriousness of it. And so I'll send a tow truck out there. And the tow truck come and pulled it out, but when it did, it was making like grooves all the way up to the road. So this guy had a nice green lawn.
His lawn.
And then 2 damn marks and trails up to the road.
He probably could have put a swimming pool in the first one.
And I asked the guy, because he was like bitching and complaining. I said, hey, if you'll get out of the way right there real quick, I'm going to try to back it right there. He started having another fit. No, don't you come back through this yard. No, don't you come back through. So we had to move the furniture from the damn road, step over them big ass track mud holes we just made. It took us, it was a good, it would have taken from the back door, I mean, the closest we could have got would have taken 4 hours. It took us about 12. And we got the lighter pieces of shit. We would almost be jogging so we could hurry up and get the hell out of there. But after all that shit, it's about 10 o'clock at night. And we still got a 6 hour, we're going to end up sleeping in the sleeper or get a room. They give you money for a room. But the colonel was like, we were getting ready to go. All right, sir, we'll see you. No, you guys ain't through. There's nothing else in the truck. What do you mean we're not done? And so he said, y'all were supposed to, and he's got the contract, so y'all were supposed to unbox every one of these. I was like, man, it's 10 o'clock at night. We're going to be seeing your personal items. You're going to do it now. I said, oh, okay, you're still talking to me like that? And he was bossing at me. I was like, hey, here, how's this? Click, click. I took the knife and cut the 2 pieces of tape and then a long way and took the box and turned it.
Well, you emptied it out for him.
And when the next week goes, just get out of here. Don't mess with that one. And so we got to leave. But we also got cussed out when Perry's like, did you dump off his stuff all over the floor? I said, no, I emptied the box. He wanted me to empty the box.
And it was empty.
Yep. Yeah, shit went everywhere. That poor man. But he shouldn't have been yelling at us like that. We weren't in the military.
Kindness doesn't cost 10 cents.
So after that experience, I thought, and then Perry getting mad at us and shit, and Perry's a friend of mine, he's having to yell at me and stuff, and I thought, man, Jerry Oates has got the gym, so I'm thinking maybe, professional wrestling. Let me just go ask Jerry about it, because I know they did a lot of traveling. Well, shit, what am I doing now?
You were already doing the traveling part of it,
and I got to move furniture and do all that shit on top of the travel. So, I went to him and he said, yeah, you ought to. You're really good. I've seen you in your sports here in town, and yeah, you'd be great. You'd be a great one. So he trained me up and took off. Then went and seen Armstrongs. This all started with a tribute to Bob, didn't it?
Bob Armstrong.
How the hell did we get on moving furniture?
Unbelievable. At what point in your career did you actually get to meet Bullet Bob?
In person when we, like I'd seen him, and got autographs shit when I was a kid. But as far as once getting into business, me and Brad hit it off right away. And he passed away at such a young age, man.
Yeah, another one.
Yeah. That's why when you said a tribute to Bob, I'm thinking with Brad too, because Brad was the best worker out of the group. His dad
was fantastic.
Yeah, his dad was best charismatically. Charismatically. That's not even a word.
Charismatically? That's not a word?
Try to spell it.
Well, no.
But he had the charisma of the group, and Brad had the work ethic or skills. I don't want to say ethic because Bob works hard too. But so when I saw Bob the first time, I think me and Brad, he introduced me like I didn't know who it was.
Right, yeah.
And very nice man, very good guy, and. Bob partied a little bit, not crazy like us, but he was lighthearted with everything.
Tony said he was a gimmick man. He liked a little bit of the cannabis.
Yeah, a lot of times he would go do, in his later years, he'd go do signings, autograph things, just for the money to go for that, because he didn't care about needing no money or anything. No vodka in it. But where's my phone? Oh, there it is. That's in 1987. Gosh, dang man, time is gone. But we had got fired from WWF at the time.
A one-day stint.
Yeah, and we had to go. We went down to Birmingham, and they were based out of there. Well, for what the hell was it called? Continental Wrestling, I think it was. And the Fullers owned it.
Yep.
And you need some coffee. You're falling asleep.
No.
Okay. But anyway, Bob was there. He was the booker, and got to see him again. And he remembered me, from being Brad's friend, his son's friend, and he come over and we all hugged, and we did. What was so cool is we got to work 6-man tags with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he did that on purpose. He was the one that's like, here, I'll let these little whippersnappers go in there do the work. I'll come clean up, which was fine with me. It was just a thrill to get the tag with him, and learned. I learned how a lot of stuff from watching him. Because he was getting a little bit older, he could still do a little bit, but as you get older, you start. In the construction industry, they say don't strain, call a crane. The same kind of thing. You use the knowledge that you know, rather than the physical activity that you used to could do. And I watched him do that, and in my later years, I started incorporating what I saw him do. It all comes down to psychology of the crowd, and but I learned so much from then, and man, I think you can work as hard as you want. You'll improve a little bit on your mic skills, but I truly believe. Sorry, I keep picking this paper tooth of mine. It's a gift. You either got it or you don't. When it comes to speaking on the mic, like Dusty Rhodes, like The Rock, Stone Cold, Ric Flair, Bob was great. It's a gift. Or gift of gab, if you want to say it that way, but you either got that or you don't. As I said, you can practice in front of a mirror or a camera and watch it back and get more comfortable with it. Anything you keep doing, you're usually going to improve a little bit. But these guys never had to practice. They just go like, wham, 2 minutes, and you're like, where did all that come from? But I told you now, Bob was right. He was booking it, and we had not been there that long, maybe a couple of months, and they called us. They had to change our name from the Midnight Rockers to the Midnight Rockers and Rollers, because of trademarks or whatever. And I hated that, the Midnight Rockers and Rollers. And,
Who owned the trademark on Midnight Rockers?
AWA, I think. Yeah, that's why when we went to WWE or F at the time, it was just the Rockers. Yeah. But so Sean was signing, autographs. There was a bunch of kids were standing out there signing, a bunch of people, not just kids. But Sean, he was just playing. He wasn't being, like he sometimes could be, like arrogant and cocky. But he was just playing because a couple of the guys were out there with us. I think Tracy Smothers was standing out there with us.
Oh.
And Sean was just trying to cut up and be one of the boys. And this girl had it's not a range, a windbreaker. Had a white windbreaker, and Sean wrote on the back. She thought he was signing his name. He wrote, "I'm a whore." And, he was looking at nudging everybody. Look what I did. Look what I did. Well, the girl couldn't see it, and she was all happy, and she ran and showed her parents.
Well, and then there's that.
Yep, and then next thing we know, the new owners, they just bought out the Fullers, and they didn't know anything about wrestling. They just saw wrestling was doing pretty good. They knew nothing about it. But they called a meeting that night at the show and said, "Where's Shawn Michaels?" He goes, "I'm right here." I guess he thought he was going to get praised. He stood up and all proud, and they pulled his jacket out, and I'm like, "Oh, shit." He goes, "Did you sign this?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they said, that girl was, I think they said 12 years old or two. And Sean didn't say anything. They come around to telling him about professionalism or something. And he snapped on him. He goes, "Don't you rich people come in here and tell me how to do my job. Wow. You don't know shit about wrestling. You're going to tell me how to do my job? Y'all need to shut the hell up and learn the business first." Well, that night we had a show. Bob was a booker, and he come pull us over, and he said, and this is actually in Sean's book. He actually admitted it. He screwed up on that one. Usually he puts it on me. But Bob said, he said, "Guys," because I hate it, but they want y'all to finish up in a couple weeks. And Sean's like, "Fuck that, we quit now." And I'm looking at Bob, and he knew it was Sean's the one that did the shit, right. And then but I stood with Sean, like he wanted to quit, so I quit with him. I didn't want to, but I quit with him because that's what you're supposed to do. Stick together, right or wrong, And, Bob had pulled me aside. He goes, "You need to be careful with him." That's all he said. That's all he said. And boy, wasn't he correct. In the overall picture later down the road, boy, wasn't he correct. And that's all he said. He did not say a bad thing. He just need to watch out for him.
Short, sweet, and to the point.
Yep.
In a sentence or two, Marty, what is Bob's...
Shit, why would you even open with that? Like, that's going to happen.
What is the legacy that Bob Armstrong leaves to this industry as we wrap up this segment? As a human being and as a professional.
As a human being, just like my coach, the word integrity comes to mind. Loaded with integrity. Good man, good family guy. I think he loved to entertain. In fact, I know he did. And he raised his kids very good. They weren't none of them, in jail and like me, in jail and out robbing, raping, and pillaging. None of that crap. They were all good boys. So that means you was a good father, So, and then his boys. I mean, the Armstrongs are now like the Mannings. There's a family album of what they've done for the world of wrestling. And so he contributed probably bigger than most, And like I say, he genuinely loved the people and entertaining them, like most of us do, but some of us more so than others, But that would be, if that was more than two sentences, that would be that. And great entertainer he was. He could talk on the mic, was built good, he worked hard in the ring, knew what he was doing. Good man.
Well, I tip my cap if I had one on.
There, you want to borrow mine?
You can tip it for me. Thank you. Road Dogg was the headliner of our first events back in 2001. We ran into, he had his personal problems. We had a nice comeback in 2007.
Yep.
2010, he ran into some problems.
Yeah, he was great. He's good on the mic. He had some of his natural like his dad.
But I'll tell you this. You want to know why I think Road Dogg is so classy?
Why is that?
He really screwed us over, not in two different runs. But out of everyone that ever pulled the no-show game, the holding up game, once he got clean and sober, he was the only one that ever apologized.
Oh, really?
And I'll never forget that. I have all the respect in the world for Brian.
He's a good brother.
And again, I hope the Armstrong family is doing well. It's sad. His wife passed away just a couple of months before. Yeah. So
you know, there's been a lot of that going on lately. We actually talked about that. His wife's gone. You know.
It's been a tough year for the Armstrongs, and we send them our best. You know what? I don't know them personally other than Brian, but they're still part of the fraternity of what we do. So we send out our best. We like to do our remembrances. Right now, fans, we're going to take a brief time out, check out what's going on with the Pallbearer Cyber Toy Drive. We'll be back with segment 2. Stand by.
Boston Wrestling Sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE, NXT, and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back. Nice tribute to Bob Armstrong. You get to know Marty's life a little bit more at a young age.
Yeah, like you need to.
Well, along with Bob, and we did a recent tribute to Road Warrior Animal, we lost another member of the fraternity, so to speak, a guy that I think was kind of underrated because of maybe a bad position he decided to take with WWF. Tracy Smothers passed away recently, had a rough end of life. With a variety of health problems.
He was fighting, what was it, some type of lymph node cancer or something.
Yeah,
it seems like a losing battle from what I hear. Once it gets there, it's quick.
I know you had kind of a nice tribute to him on Facebook.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, memories on the loss of Tracy Smothers?
I just feel like that was another one of the good ones that the industry lost. Tracy and I had a lot in common. We used to, when we get to the shows, like a lot of the guys go get dressed and kind of get their own, especially what's the name you used to call them? They kind of big league you, which means they don't have nothing to do with the guys.
Right,
you know, you're the big name and you go off to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but Tracy and I would always want to help. I'll never forget the one time, it was somewhere, I can't remember where the hell it was, but a small town, I think in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure where it was. We didn't know each other was on the show, and we got hugging and how you been and all that.
And we were surprised to see him.
Yeah. But both of us, we both didn't know. Just like the last time I saw him, we both didn't know. We were looking around, it was like a young crew, so if they're only like 21, 22 years old, they ain't got that much experience, you know. So we thought, well, let's take a couple of them to the ring, because he would do that and I would do that separately. He used to do it, I used to do it, take them to the ring and show them a few things. But we did it together on this night because we were both there. I think it was his suggestion, because let's get a few of them, whoever. It was like we would just say, hey, we're going to go to the ring if anybody wants to, come and ask questions or anything to the locker room. And, you know, like about 6 or 7 that day, like, we're glad to, you know, and we went out to, you know, like, give a seminar kind of thing, you know. But it wasn't an arrogant or cocky thing. I just hope nobody thinks that we're like, we were so, hey, man, we come here, let us teach you shit. It wasn't like that. It was like, you know, anybody wanting to, we're going to go anyway. You're welcome to come out with us. And they did, and then we showed them things, and we had like about, it got close enough to where they were going to let the people in, the promoters say, okay, all right, guys, wrap it up. So we was out there a good hour and a half, you know, working with them, showing them things, and you know you did good at the end when they come hug you and thank you. That always, now I'm gonna get emotional, cry. That always gets me.
What does now?
Well, just when a new kid, when they get something out of it, you know, and they really feel it. Yeah, I love that. I love it, and I love like seeing their faces light up when they get something like, oh.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah. You know, I love that feeling.
That's part of the reason why I cannot wait for us to be able to have our live Boston Wrestling MWF events, because if you do get healthy enough to actually get in the ring again, that's fantastic. But all the knowledge that you can share with the young roster of great, I mean, I know you were very impressed by some of the footage you saw on YouTube of some of our live wrestling. For what you can give, I mean, you're talking about raw, moldable talent right now. What they can get from learning from true pros. I don't want to get off the topic of Tracy Smothers too much, but I have to segue for a second.
Okay.
The problem right now that is someone that runs these live events and works with these, again, the majority are great, good people that just want to get involved with something they love and try and make a career out of it. The problem is, it's almost turned into Little League Baseball. Any human being that wants to go to a wrestling school can pay a couple $100 and then automatically they're in. And then they're quote unquote professional wrestlers. They sometimes go to wrestling schools by people that have little experience themselves, weekend warriors. I think anyone, if they want to become a professional wrestler, should go to a facility that is run by someone that had it doesn't matter whether the top of the card, bottom of the card, a full-time career in professional wrestling. Not working independent shows, but actually having a career in the industry where it was their full-time living. If they didn't do that, to me, they're not a true professional. That's my opinion. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, well, other people like it's a side, it's a hobby. They have a 9-to-5 job during the week or 8 to 4, you know, whatever, and then on the weekend we'll get involved with wrestling. But that's not the true spirit of the game. It's your life is dedicated. There ain't nothing else. Your whole life is dedicated to it. That's how you get to know the ins and outs in every aspect of it. You know, I don't want anybody to not follow their passion or their heart. And the problem is there's so many of the guys that ain't really out there doing it because they love it. They're out there doing it for the money. You know, it's a side job. It's a weekend. And they had 3 matches on TV maybe as extras.
Right.
And now they're running a school. And there's no way they even know psychology. So how can you teach what you don't know? And you know, that bothers me because sometimes the kids get trained wrong before they ever get a match. They're already misinformed on what they're supposed to do. They've already been taught bad habits. I'm not going to say a name because I love the brother, but when I went and helped my boy Rod Foy's, he had a school that he wanted me to come help out with. And we named it Body Slam University, same as my one that I had in Houston, was Body Slam University. Mm-hmm. Now somebody down in Miami grabbed that name and put a trademark on it so he can't be used anymore. Oh, really? Yeah. I think he had something. I think Dwayne Johnson had a little bit. It might have been a branch off his or something. But anyway, you know, I went down there and the guy that Rod was one of the guys, he had a couple guys showing. So that way y'all don't know which one I'm talking about because I know they will see this. One of them was showing bad technique on stuff. You know, I come to observe it first to see what the kids were used to so I can, you know, come in without making a big wave, you know, just blend right in with everything. So, and I'm seeing them and I'm like, oh, no. you know, like if they've already been trained at it, it's so hard to break a habit, you know, whereas if
it's almost like learning a language. It's instilled in their brain. Yep.
Yeah, you gotta unload the glass of water, make it empty again to put more in. you know, and what the hell did I just say? I think I remember that from one of my Zen readings. But yeah, they're getting taught wrong techniques and certainly not getting taught psychology. If the guy don't even know how you twist the arm and how you should sell it, you know, how the hell you going to tell them how to get the crowd riled up or to settle down? But yeah, it's just, and like I say, I mean, you know, they do that in martial arts now. A guy go gets a black belt, and anybody that's deep into martial arts, except for the Brazilian, a black belt ain't nothing. You're not anything until you're about third degrees where we really look at, okay, now this person is a martial artist. First degree and second degree.
A true martial artist.
Yeah. But guys that go out and get a black belt and open a school. It's the same kind of thing. You know, I like it because it's giving opportunity to kids that want to do it, and they don't have the funds to go somewhere good, like, you know, a school in Atlanta or Orlando, or, you know, that one of the WWE places are running. You know, so it's good for that, but yeah, you know, it's like I say, it's a mixed thing. It's like, it's good because they're getting an opportunity. It's bad because they're getting trained wrong. You know.
Do you agree with that statement, though? If you, for the younger fans that may tune into this, if you have a true passion to enter professional wrestling and you want to get trained to do it, and you want it as your full-time career, is it their best course, Marty, to be trained by someone that was actually a full-time professional wrestler? Not someone that says, I main evented independent wrestling shows. Someone that did this as their full-time living. It was their life. Because if that's what you want to do, why would you want to be trained by someone that didn't do it?
I can't tell you how many times I've seen this over my career. I get 30 plus years. It's actually over 35, 36.
36, yeah.
People that have wrestled in front of 200 and 300 people, which is good because it's like, you know, they're getting a feel for it in front of a crowd. But the first time they walk out in front of 20,000, they lock up and can't remember a thing. They're stiff. You know, they can't move. You know, and when you stiffen up and you get nervous, you can't think. You know, I have kids that come to me, you know, at shows and like, man, I'm nervous, man. I don't know what to do. Asking me, like, what did you used to do when you get nervous? I said, used to. I get nervous now. And they'll be like, no way. I said, yeah. This is what I tell them, and I've said this many times. The time to worry is when you don't get nervous, because nervousness is there to make all your reflexes sharper. Instincts are sharper. You know, because you're red alert, but you don't want to overdo it to where you're scared and nervous, because then everything locks up. But nervousness is a friend. It's taking care of you. Don't worry about being nervous. Worry about not being nervous. That's when people get hurt. So lackadaisical that they don't care. Like, oh yes, it's just another match. And they go out there and break a leg or something because they're not paying attention. So the nervousness part. But yeah. But I guess we were saying, like, these teachers. That's like Chuck Austin, the guy that got the broke neck. I mean, he was working, you know, in front of 150 people, and so he was helping run. I don't know what the hell he was helping run. I mean, what he was teaching, but he was helping at a school, and got in front of 16,000 people and then locked up, and he got his neck broke, and that cost me $500,000 because he thought he was prepared for that. You know, during the interview they had with him on. It was either Entertainment Tonight or American Journal, but he was on like 3 different things. Well, I was too, as the bad guy. You know, that broke his neck is that little bitch-ass Nancy Glass.
Grace.
No, that's
not Nancy Grace?
Not her, no. Glass. It might not have been Nancy something Glass, but she was the head girl for American Journal, which is not around anymore. But you
know, that name sounds familiar, but I can't
place she was a blonde-haired one. Nancy Grace, I would have backhand her. I can't stand her. Do what?
This is back in the mid-90s, yeah.
Yeah, 94-ish, because we had already gone through court, and that was 94, beginning of 94. But she on the thing, she goes, she kept saying, Marty, this WWF superstar, Marty Jannetty, not only slammed Chuck Austin to the floor, he broke his neck. like that was my intention. Like, and then at
Like
the
it
end,
was a shoot or something. Yeah.
yeah, and then at the end, as she closed the show, after showing everything, she says, and Marty Jannetty, the guy that slammed Chuck to the floor, no longer works for the WWF. But I did. And to me, that was defamation,
False defamation of character,
all kinds of stuff that I call a lawyer. Nobody wants to mess with the media. You know, and at least Trump will go ahead and call them fake media. You know,
You had fake news in the 90s.
Yeah, it's always. It's always.
You know,
been.
I'll tell you this. One thing that I really didn't know Tracy Smothers, but one thing that impressed me about him is when ECW first started to come to this area, they ran in Wonderland Greyhound Park in Revere, where you're staying.
Greyhound Park.
Greyhound Park. And it's a matter of fact.
Park. Say Park and Marty and car.
I went.
He's straight Boston.
I went with Marty in the car to Wonderland Greyhound Park. There you go. And the funny thing is, a couple of years after ECW closed, that's where we had our first live event in that same venue. But anyway.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Was it wicked?
it was wicked
Good.
wicked cool. Yeah. And you know, they were nice enough to invite us because I worked with Tony Rumble at that point, and they invited the guys down. And Tracy was in the ring before the show with a lot of the young ECW talent, the guys that would do the ring and things like that. And again, I really didn't know him, but it impressed me. I don't know if it was part of his job or he just did it because he wanted to.
No, he did it because he wanted to.
But he was really giving of his time trying to teach wisdom and expertise to these young ECW talents, and that's really my lasting memory of Tracy. What about you? You knew him personally. Did you ever travel with him? Or
we partied a lot, you know, and sometimes Tracy gets stuck with the stigma of being
a medicine man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, with Tracy and I probably had about the same amount of years, you know, so, you know, we kind of gelled with that. You know, we had the same amount of experience and we're learning together in the younger years. And, you know, when you're young and you take some, not the cocaine now, we'll leave that part out for now. But at a younger age, when you start taking a pain pill so that you can perform again the next night, because you got a little bit more than a bump or a bruise, because those are like, you know, that's part of it. If you don't get bumped or bruised, you didn't have a good match. When you get like a serious one where you're going to be gimping a little bit, and I'll give you an example. I had to wrestle, I think it was San Francisco at the Cow Palace. It doesn't really matter where it was. It was Bam Bam Bigelow. You know, God rest his soul. I love him too, man. Miss him.
I remember I had to babysit his son one weekend.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
I told you that story. Yeah. I liked Bam Bam.
Yeah, a good guy, super good guy. Well, you know what they call it, the leg scissors or head scissors, where you go running, nobody does that shit anymore, but you go running and you wrap the legs and you take them over up around
Yeah, you did that to Bam Bam?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And he sold it?
I sold it. Because he was right at 400 pounds, 375 pounds. And when I twisted to roll him, you know, for him to flip over, God, right across the ankles. And, you know, I was like, oh, like it was burning. When you crack something, when you crack a bone, it's a burn. It's like a fire, and you feel it racing coming up your leg or wherever up your arm or whatever. I felt it, but I didn't realize at that point that's what a broken bone would feel like. And actually, it was just a small one that got cracked. Because
you actually broke a bone?
Yeah, from that. And there was a doctor. It must have been somewhere near LA because Dr. Unger was the team doctor, you know, unofficially. Yeah. There's some stories there with him and, no, I'll be quiet. I ain't getting myself into that.
We'll save that for the chronological order.
Yeah, well, he had a pretty wife, but. No, not me.
No, Dr. Unger.
Not me. I mean, but not me, you know, dabbling around in there.
You're sure now?
Oh, no, I didn't. I don't do that. I mean, there's plenty of stuff without messing with married people. Or even dating, you know, that's not right. Messing with the heart.
There's plenty of fish in the water. And you did a lot of fishing. Yeah,
with an empty hook. But, so anyway, Dr. Unger, I think maybe we were in San Fran and we flew in that next morning. He had me come down and do x-rays. And he'd come out and said, I can't believe you're walking around and you know, it's impossible. This is impossible. I'm like, what? He goes, you've got a broken bone down there in your ankle. I said, well, it hurts pretty bad. I don't know why you think it's impossible. It hurts. And he gave me a couple Vicodin, I think it was. But
That's it?
yeah.
Really?
Well, yeah. Now, I mean, this is like way back when I was younger. I you know, back then I hadn't started dabbling with them, you know, where I had to take 6, 7, 8 at a time. But man, it kills the pain off, and you, for me, I can't speak for everybody. And again, remember now, this was all new to me. Well, I went to the ring that night, and I forgot who I had to wrestle, but we had a great match. You know, Kurt Hennig.
You broke a bone in your foot, and you didn't even have a night off.
No,
Wow.
I didn't want a night off.
What
I
a
wanted
professional.
Well, it wasn't that. I wanted that money, and plus what girls were in that town.
Yeah, there you go. You had to keep up with the social life, too.
Yeah. I didn't need to go home. Vince actually made me take time off once.
Really?
Yeah. Justin Bradshaw, or J.O.B.
John Layfield,
yeah.
JBL.
But he went to Justin Bradshaw.
Justin Hawk Bradshaw.
Yeah. Oh my God, when he came in, he had Dutch Mantel as his manager.
Dirty Dutch, yeah.
Yeah, and
Two good friends.
boy, yeah, I love him to death, both of them. But oh my God, was he stiff and rugged to talk about Justin. What's his real name?
John.
John. He picked me up and slammed in my arm. When I landed, it was back here. There's no way you can land there with your arm behind your head. And then I was like, God, and I felt that burning. And then I got up, and here comes that lariat. That was laid in too. So I'm like this. I don't know which one to hold. And it tore the rotator in the shoulder.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
when I landed like that. But and I couldn't get my arm up past right here, and it was painful. You know, when I would, if it was okay just hanging, but try to raise it in pain. And you know, I went for about a week, but the quality of the matches weren't the same. You know, because I couldn't, you know, one arm, a great match. And Vince came up to me somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but he came up and he goes, "I understand you're hurt." And I'm like, well, not bad. He goes, I saw you in the ring tonight. That's not the, so I can't remember if he called me MJ or Jannetty. What do you say? Jannetty, I'm used to. We would rather you take some time off and heal than gut these out. And I'm like, no, I got, you know, I'm fine. He goes, we'll still pay you. Don't worry about the pay. We'll keep paying you. But he goes, granted, you're 75%. Is better than most 100.
What a nice compliment.
Yeah, coming from him.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's what a lot of people don't understand. Vince, he is a good man. He's just in a bad position. You know, it's hard to own a $1 billion company and not piss somebody off. But yeah, so he told me, you know, we'd rather have you 100%. You know, take time off. We're going to keep paying you, and it wasn't full amount. You know, but it was still a good paycheck. And I was sitting at home, still missing it. I didn't want to be home.
How long were you out for?
Not that long, maybe 10 days.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't terribly long.
No. And I didn't, you know, the first couple of days, I was like, off the road, okay. But the third day, I'm like, man, back to the road. Come on, shit, hurry, heal.
That's the problem with coronavirus right now. So many of the guys, they go stir crazy because they're so used to be on the move. You know? Man,
you're going to start another war. Don't get me talking about that coronavirus.
All right, we won't go to the coronavirus. No, because talk about maybe.
If I were to say it was the second wave is bullshit, people would get mad at me, but it's the truth.
All right, well.
You know what are we talking?
We're not going to have anything like that happen in round 2.
What did we say earlier? We were talking about it. Ain't it kind of amazing that it just cranked back up for round 2 right at flu of cold season.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, anything the CDC doesn't understand. I don't care if y'all come after me. Come on, what are you going to do? I'll put Swaggy on you. And Waggy, he's got an accomplice now. But, you know, it's no, I won't get into the political side of it.
Well, let's talk about, back to Tracy Smothers.
Yes.
Do you think he made a mistake taking the offer with WWF to become Freddie Joe Floyd?
A lot of people do. I mean, I think I was gone then. I'm not sure.
No, you were still there.
I was there?
In 96, yep.
It must have been a mistake then. Oh, I know why I didn't notice too much. I was embarrassed about my own. If it was 96.
You were doing the tag gimmick
New
with
Rockers.
Al. Yeah.
And like I said, I loved
can't
it.
wait to get to that time period in our interviews.
Okay, I was just going to tell something. But, yeah, Al Snow, I love him to death. He's another one that loves helping. You know how you say
Oh, we've had Al at live. Al did seminars with us when he was in charge of WWE development, when he did it for TNA. He's been here in the studio. He's worked our live events. There's a story about me in Al's book.
Is that right?
Yeah. They spelled my name wrong.
He's got a book?
He's got a book.
When did that come out?
Summer of 19?
Damn, I've been drunk that long? Shit.
It's fun.
I got to get that.
It's kind of like a story, a book of funny stories as opposed to an
Well, that would be Al.
autobiography. You know Al. You know his crazy
That's kind of
sense
what
humor.
mine is too. It's rather than being like straight chronological, which you kind of want it that way.
Yeah.
A little bit, but man, it was so hard because I read. You can probably tell from this show. I like to go
all over the
deep
place.
into them stories.
See,
one word can trigger me into like, oh yeah, let me tell you about this.
Are you familiar with Al's story about the horse?
Not that I know of.
I'm
Not
going to
yet.
send you a link to that one tonight, too. You're going to have some laughs on your cell phone when you go back to the hotel.
Okay.
You're going to get links galore. You won't even be able to sleep. But, yeah, I mean, Freddie Joe Floyd, kind of a name that was a rib on
Well,
the Briscoes. And
Oh, really? I know I've seen a lot of people comment, and then, you know, like after he died, you know, on my site where I, you know, did a tribute, a lot of people were saying that was the death of him. That was, whereas they really did him wrong, giving him that gimmick. I don't even know what the gimmick was. I remember the name of it, you know, and I never.
well, that's a combination of the two Briscoe brothers' real names, Jerry and Jack.
Okay. And but what was the character? What did he do?
He was a job, almost like an S.D. Jones type. He was a jobber that had just a little bit of a name value to him.
Oh, glorified.
They brought in Bill Irwin as the Goon, Tom Brandy
I
as
remember
Salvatore Sincere,
I remember that.
Alex the Pug Pertot. They brought in Barry Windham and ignored that he was Barry Windham, and they called him the Stalker with face paint.
Yeah,
so
I
they were
remember
just where it was a time when they needed.
What did they have Spivey do? He had a little black Danny Spivey.
Waylon Mercy.
Yeah,
that was actually going to get a big push, but his body was just done.
It was, yeah, he was broken up, man.
Yeah. But those promos he did, I mean, that was Bray Wyatt in 1995.
Yeah.
That was Bray Wyatt in 1995.
That might be where he got some of his info. That's how you do. You watch others
Yeah.
and take it and you mold it around and adjust a little bit and tinker with it, put your own flavor in it, then it's yours.
I remember we were at a TV taping they did in, it was at the, not at the Worcester Centrum in Mass, but the Worcester Memorial
Wait a
Auditorium.
minute. See, you just triggered something.
What?
Worcester, I love all my Mass people. Worcester back then was the nastiest place, and the reason I say that, Sean and I had a 2-hour signing. I've told people this before. 2-hour signing.
In Worcester, Mass now?
Yeah.
Okay.
At some mall or something though, and it was a line. You know, there was so many people, and there was, for some reason, it was a lot of more girls. And so you know, we were putting an arm around us, we're putting an arm around them, and you know, for hours, couple hours, arms around it, they hugging you and taking pictures. And I had a white shirt on, and at the end of that 2 hours, it looked like I'd been doing a motor mechanic. I had dirt
Really?
and dirt. Yes. And Sean was like, look, no, you want to know why? I said, yeah, because we've been hugging him. He goes, no, look at that girl over there. There was some girl that she had a white jacket on, and she had some coloring or something in her hair, and it had gotten all over the back of her jacket. I mean, she's walking around like that. But they were just, I know it's not that way now, and that was just a bad day, but gosh dang, they were, and some of them smelled so bad, you would hold your nose, you're trying to smile, right?
It must be tough doing personal appearances dealing with filthy people.
It was only in Worcester.
Every other personal appearance, they've been clean.
No, not all of them, but most
But Worcester
of them.
was bad.
Worcester, there wasn't a clean person there. They wouldn't have stayed there.
Now, if I would, you know what, I'm not going to name the city that I would have guessed.
I guess
would have
if
been
you,
the armpit of Massachusetts.
Springfield?
Or as Annie, well, you might have took the words right out of my mouth. As Annie calls it, Massachusetts, but you know, what are you going to do? But anyway, at that TV taping in Worcester, oh my, that was a character that was over with those fans, and it was still relatively
hey, sorry
new.
about that, Springfield.
But they couldn't do much with it because Spivey was really physically done.
Yeah,
It's a
his
shame.
body
I
was
think
broke
that
up,
had.
man.
I thought that had a lot of potential.
Yeah, the character was good, and he played.
Yeah.
You could give one person a character like the Rockers. I mean, that didn't. We kind of did it when it first started down in. It was it was a takeoff of the Rock and Roll Express, but I didn't know that. I just thought it was a pretty snazzy little thing, and they called us Uptown Boys. But they didn't know how to explain it, but they wanted us to be very rockerish, rock star, gimmick. And the guy that I was tagging with, I won't say his name because I don't want to, any ill will feelings. But Tommy Lane he was a country guy, country Dalton, Georgia boy, good guy. I mean,
Tommy Lane.
Yeah.
Doesn't ring
But
a
he
bell.
went as Tommy Rogers, not the Tommy Rogers we know.
He a different, not the Tommy Rogers that passed away.
No, not him. Yeah,
not the
him.
Fantastics Tommy
No.
Rogers. Oh, okay, a different one. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't even get him to change his name right. Tommy Lane. They gave him Tommy Rogers. Like, there's already a Tommy Rogers. What the hell? I guess he was already named before I got there. But he was a very country kind of guy, and the whole rock and roll, yada yada yada, wearing all the fringes and stuff hanging. Here he comes out, scruff beard, and just looked like a country guy. And you just could never really adapt to being that rock and roll type thing. For whatever reasons, maybe he didn't like it. I think he was upset because him and Dusty Wolf, a real good, he did one of the Doinks, and he also wrestled.
He was one of those kind of featured enhancement talents for forever.
He was a great worker, yeah. So we could use him forever, and good guy too, man. We got me and him had some good stories, but he would probably be best telling it. But Tommy Rogers just couldn't ever get to that rock and roll type of thing. Some people can't. But I guess what it was meant to be said. I said all that to say that Mercy thing fit Danny. Danny was able to portray it out there to the people in such a way that it was like believable. Whereas you might have given that same gimmick, so you think the gimmick's good. It's the person and the gimmick combination that makes it work. The next person might have been horrible with it. It took Tatanka like a year to get the Indian thing down. Chief Strongbow.
Really?
Yeah, well, yeah. Strongbow worked with him every night. He'd come say, add this, take that out. Don't do this, don't do that. And then Chris Tatanka took it from there, and he did real good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like Warrior before they cut him loose on the people. He did house shows only, no TV tapings.
Yeah.
For like a year to get that character down. And once he did, though, boy, did he.
It took off.
He was a very smart guy, man, very smart.
With Tracy Smothers, though, I think it was tough for anyone to use him with any credibility, where they saw him basically as a 1996, almost S.D. Jones-esque type character in WWE. He had to run an ECW as a part of the FBI tag team, which him, Tommy Rich, and Little Guido all played Italians.
About them, yeah.
That was fun, but it was, undercard tag team comedy for the most part.
Well, you do get put in a box when you do the same kind. When you change characters and it's still in the mid card to lower, you get labeled. That's like a comedian actor all the time, and then you want to go do a serious drama thing.
Right.
It
You're
don't work.
typecast.
Yeah.
Be like Jim Carrey trying to do Hamlet.
Yeah.
Any fun memories of Tracy on the road with him?
Yeah, but I can't tell those here.
Really?
Well, I mean, it was just, the wild women parties and stuff. I will say, back in the crazy days, we certainly wouldn't do it anymore, but him and I had a habit, and we actually learned it from Bill Dundee. When somebody, there's people that show up. I've mentioned that in shows before. If you like the powder stuff, they come give you the shake, and they throw that vial, it's a gram, or it might be 3 grams, which, 8 ball, 3 and point whatever. An 8-ball vial or a 1 gram vial, but it's in a handshake. You go see it at the airport, and when you get that handshake, but make sure you don't drop it, especially if there's a policeman around. But
it's like what Glantz does.
What's that?
It's like what Glantz does.
Glantz.
Glantz.
Which one's that?
You remember Glantz?
I remember the name.
Goliath.
Oh, yeah.
Glantz.
Yeah.
He's missing in action.
Again?
Well, maybe it was the corona. I don't know.
Oh, man. Yeah, so you know, sometimes they show up at the places they know you're going to be.
They bring their own gimmick, yeah.
You take the top off a pill bottle, and the guys will reach in and grab one or two. You know, you got to pick it out the little. And Bill Dundee, the first time we were all together, Bill Dundee and Tracy and I, and Bill Dundee, he took the guy's got the little pill bottle. He goes, "Mate, let me try something." And he just turns up. He don't got no idea what's in there. I mean, it could be Quaaludes, and it could be Speed, and it could be Downers,
The whole
Uppers.
bottle?
Not the whole bottle, but
a
he just
few?
turned it up. About 10, 12 of them went in there. And we looked at each other and like, we did it too. Then the whole bottle. We gave the guy the bottle back, and he looked in there and didn't say he didn't see anything. He goes, "Well, all right, I brought it for y'all."
Did you ever hear the story Percy told me, and I was in hysterics, about Terry Gordy on the plane, and he was sitting next to an old lady that was trying to organize her pills, and he said, well, you know, they became friendly, and she gave him some of the different pills, and Terry Gordy passed out on the plane. And apparently he said to Percy as he was on a stretcher leaving the plane, I think it was the blue one, Percy.
He probably got some damn Quaaludes, man.
Well, this was from a little old lady that was, you know, she probably had one of those Sunday, Monday, Tuesday little pill gimmicks.
Right, yeah.
And Gordy just saw
Took 'em
pills
all.
and figured, well, you know what, something's got to be good in there with all of them.
Yeah, I'll find it.
And I don't know, I have no idea what it was that he took, but I just remember Percy saying, as they were wheeling him off the plane, he said, Percy, it was the blue one. Well, anyway, as we wrap up this wild episode, any final thoughts, memories on Tracy's legacy as a person, as a pro?
Tracy was one of the best-hearted people I'd ever met. Cared
Really?
about everybody, loved everybody. Much like myself, I said we had so much in common. When I saw how much he cared about teaching the young guys, you know, when I broke in, Jerry Oates always told me, don't be afraid to ask the veterans for help, because it'll be flattering to them. It'll make them feel good that you care enough to ask them. And so I did. I was, you know, still shy and stuff, but, you know, I would go say, hey, you know, what about this? What about that? Why this or why that? Or what do you think about this? You know, whatever. And, you know, some of them, most of them appreciate that you ask. Some of them, if they saw that you were getting good fast, they get worried about their job. You know, like, no, I'm not going to tell you what I know. No, you ain't taking my spot. You know, which that's something we never cared about. If you could take my spot, you belong there. You know, that's the way I would look at it. And I think Tracy looked at it too. You know, if you're going to make the industry, you know, if you're better than me, hey, I'm not going to hold you down by not telling you what you need to know. But, you know, Tracy was like that, good-hearted, good soul. I don't know anybody except this one girlfriend that was pissed at him and talked a whole bunch of shit to me about it back in MySpace days. And I mean, I had to block her or whatever it was, defriend. I don't even know what the hell he called it back in MySpace. But she just talked him down, and I tried to, one or two comments to her, just through messaging, that no, he's not that way. It's just, and oh boy, she wanted to put him in jail and do this, and he's a sorry-ass motherfucker and all that. But I kept standing up for him, and
Good for you.
she got, the word got back to him because, and we bonded more. He come up, he goes, I heard my ex-bitch was saying stuff to you, and I saw one of the things she said, you stood up for me, and she goes, that's the way it was supposed to be at the old school. We stood up for each other. And, you know, he hugged me, said, thank you so much for doing that. And, you know, but it came now, I wasn't doing it for the thank you, it came natural. That's my boy, and that's one of the boys. And I don't know this bitch from the bitch the night before.
Right.
I didn't mean to say bitch, but I did. And you know, talking all that shit to whoever knows I'm a friend of his, right? And talking all that shit about him to me. And I tried to, you know, squash it, you know, just at least let her know, take it somewhere else. Don't bring it here.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I never got ugly with her. I just got rid, you know, away with it. Go on. But, yeah, he was, other than her, I never heard anybody that met Tracy said a bad word about him.
Tony.
Huh?
Tony.
Yeah.
Tony buried him in that tribute to him when he came up.
Oh, what happened?
I guess he felt Tracy was a little on the racist side.
Come on, Tony, stop that race stuff. Everybody loves you and people. You know that we in the wrestling world. I'm going to see if I can think of anybody I know that was racist in the wrestling world. Nope. Can't think of anybody that was a racist, because you learn to love everybody if you didn't do that already. When you're giving your body to each other, here, I'm up in the air, upside down, I'm trusting you. You know, if I don't like, if the person don't like you, or just like, fuck you, they can just let go right here, you know, and you're going to land on your head. We're giving each other our bodies. You learn to love that person, but you really should come in loving everybody anyway. You know, maybe it's different for me because, you know, grew up with different races as a kid. But, you know, so for me to say you should love everybody, not, you know, judged by their skin color or where they live as far as rich or poor, because I got that shit real bad. You know, especially when I went to a rich high school, you know, and I was a poor kid and wearing three sets of clothes I could wear for a week. I mean, I had to alternate. Monday, Tuesday I had something, then Wednesday it's back to the first set, Thursday maybe a third, and then Friday back to the first or second set. That's all I had, and after about a month, everybody recognizes that, you know, and they started, you know, they always would mess with me. My first sophomore and freshman year, but then I started getting pretty good in sports, and all that changed. And but that kind of prepared me for the world of pro wrestling. Unlike some people, like Sean couldn't handle it at first because he come in so young. It came from a background of, you know, having you know, stuff. Mm-hmm. Hell, he was 20 years old. He had a 300 ZX, you know, brand new. Oh wow! Yeah, and you know, he didn't buy it. Yeah, right. But just saying, you know, I forgot what I was saying. But other than you know, it really kind of bothers you a bit. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Was watching all those same kids at my high school, and I'm not knocking any single one of y'all. I'm just saying in general, because I love all my people there. I didn't back my freshman and sophomore year. I think I fought more than anybody in the school. They all of a sudden, I'm the poor kid that don't belong at Hardaway High School. You know, it's not hard. One guy said Hildebrand, whatever his damn name, something Hildebrand. Well, he's just not Hardaway material. Doesn't matter how good he's doing in sports, he's not Hardaway material. Man, I wanted to rip his head off. Because who wants to be Hardaway material? You know, materialistic motherfuckers wearing Izod shirts and khaki pants and penny loafers with a penny in it. You know, gosh, damn, I want to be a part of that. But you know, by my junior year, everybody loved me. Everybody wanted to go hang out with me. You know, our crew, you know, Watford and McGee and Tim Dobbs and all my boys, Tom Lively. Tom, the one that tore the yard, you know, come on back, you got it, you dadgum chicken shit, bring it on back. Him. But everybody, we were all good in sports too. Everybody loved us, but they were probably not as bad off as I was as far as being raised. Mm-hmm. And so I was a poor outcast. And because of desegregation too, I lived one block over from where I should have went to Kendrick, was more my people's financial status. It wasn't, you know, the desegregation zoning had me taking a bus to the school, rich kids, and they, you know, they made fun of me and shit. But I saw how they changed when I started winning stuff in football and wrestling and track. Yeah. You know, all the sports were, you know, doing good, and I'm in the papers for them and all that stuff. And everybody wants to hang out with me, and I'm sitting there remembering this is the same people laughing at my clothes last year, you know. And so I learned to handle the bullshit. Prepared me for pro wrestling, because that pro wrestling, nobody knows me, or is, you know, how he says it, you can't see me. You'll just know what you see on TV. That's why a lot of times, more times than not, and a lot more than not, people are shocked when they meet me, because they hear about all these stories on the internet, and then they meet me and they're like, wow, you're nothing like what everybody says. I mean, you're the nicest guy. You're friendly. You take your time and talk to each one of them, you know, all that stuff. Yeah. Then they get to know me, but just seeing me on TV and reading what you read on the internet, you don't know me. And but you're going to cheer for me and yell for me, and you know. First, I so many times I've heard people talking shit about me on the internet, and then I run across that person and talking shit about me at the arena or something. I walk, how y'all doing? Like, oh my God, it's Marty Jannetty. Hey man, oh I love you. I just heard them talking shit about me, right? It's funny how they do. Even on the internet, they'll be talking on a thread. They'll be talking shit going on, and I'll like chime in one time.
What?
You know who it is, right?
Annie?
Oh man. Donald Trump, you can't call me while I'm at work, buddy. I probably should get it, huh? Y'all want to talk to Donald?
Well, we're just about done wrapping up this show.
Here, let me turn the ringer off.
All right.
Wait a minute. Don't call back here no more. We don't want none. Don't come around here no more.
No, you told them.
That's it? That's all? You called to say nothing.
I'm glad that we had a nice tribute to Tracy after what we had on with Tony.
But so anyway, to finish that up,
okay.
I learned from high school how to handle the everybody loves you type of thing. You just got to take it with a grain of salt. You don't fall for the hype.
Where will you ever find a greater variety of human being than in what we do in wrestling?
That's it.
You know?
I noticed that from the get-go.
All right. Marty, another interesting episode. We remembered Tracy Smothers, Bob Armstrong, and a whole lot of other things we didn't expect. But that's just part of the charm of the show. For the future Hall of Famer, Mr. Marty Jannetty, I'm Dan Marati.
You know I'm a Hall of Famer now.
Which Hall of Fame are you in?
A bunch of them. One in Texas, one in West Virginia. State Hall of Fames, I guess you'd call them.
What about the Idaho Hall of Fame? Have you made that one yet?
Idaho. You heard what that girl did was Miss Universe or Mrs. America, and Miss America pageant, and they asked her what her talent was, and she's Idaho.
And there
she was from Idaho.
And there you have it, wrestling fans. Again, don't forget the 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. Head on over to BostonWrestling.com. You and yours enjoy the holiday season.
Hey, I might as well tell you, I had sex with her.
Did you?
Miss Idaho.
Miss
yeah.
Idaho?
Yeah.
And did she fit the description?
Well, she was, pretty much, because at first, during the beginning of, she was a very positive person. She kept going, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. And then, a little deeper into it, she was, oh God, a very religious person.
Really? Religious
oh God,
woman.
oh God. But then at the end, she faked orgasm because she started going, oh Marty, oh Marty, oh. What?
Did she get the Vanna White treatment?
You got to stop bringing that up. I got a call from her agent.
No way. All right, well, we won't go there, I guess. He already did. All right, but did Miss Idaho have Annie's special skill?
Oh, well, I'm not going into ass-eating Annie again. No. You got to leave that lady alone.
Did Miss Idaho have her skill?
From what I remember, that was a long time ago.
Poor Annie. If she only knew the fans are requesting her to come to the studio to tell her ass-eating
we should bring a mannequin and sit it right here.
Funny, though? And we're getting ready to go, and it is Christmas time after all. But can you imagine the rat interview we could have if we had like that panel that Phil Donahue had during the sex scandal? Imagine if we had all the rats from the different cities come and tell their stories. I think that would be the greatest interview ever.
It would be pretty good, but you ain't got enough room in the studio.
Well, we'd have to be selective, unlike them.
Yeah,
all right. Until we speak again, folks, be healthy, stay well, all that jazz. Merry Christmas. Good night.